to the Great Pill Podcast, where truth's unveiled, exploring the depths beyond what is retail. Conspiracies, esoteric knowledge so enthralling. Open up your mind, let's dive into the sprawling. Oh yeah. Great Pill awaken, question what you know. Peeling back the layers, let your curiosity grow. Uncover hidden realities, break the mold. Come take the journey, let your mind unfold.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Great Pill Podcast. I'm Jules, your host. It's Thursday night, Thirsty Thursdays. Thirsty Thursday. Here with my buddy John Lee Chalbeck, who's been on the show. He's been on the show once before. What's up, man?
Good. How are you? You know, you're partaking in fallen angel worship right now with your occult.
I know. Don't judge me.
I'm not. I mean, I still do it sometimes too, but I just,
Oh, I
as
know.
long as we're aware of what's going on, you know.
Of course, man. Of course. Nancy says hi, John Lee. I got a pretty cool audience, bro. Since we've last spoken online.
Hi, Nancy. You like my shirt?
Did you make that?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of them made.
Dude, plug your stuff real fast.
It's Not What You Think podcast, and then my website is it's notwhatyoutthink.com. I'm on YouTube, on TikTok, even though I haven't been on there for a long time because I just don't see the point of being everywhere at once. You know, I'm just trying to focus my attention on a few things at a time, you know, and not be everywhere at once. So right now, everything I'm putting my attention to is to finishing like my book, and like, which is going to have a lot of these pictures that I make in it to try to like, you know, get people to realize that like this shit's impossible for, you know, these coincidences to always be there.
Yeah. Dude, what's your book going to be named?
I mean, I'm not really sure yet, but it's going to have trust fund dorks in it somewhere.
Trust fund dork fucker.
Like maybe, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It might be trust fund dork fuckery or 77 trust fund dork avenue or something like that. Like,
oh yeah, man. Wow. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it was like sounded like
it's my 2-year-old. Sound like a pterodactyl. she's real very popular for squealing and howling
and just so everyone knows, this is just a flavored water. It's with a twist of lime, but it's import, so
he's not participating in fallen angel rituals.
Yeah, not tonight. You know, not at the
no alcohol for him. Only.
Which is interesting because when you find out that bar is Sumerian for altar, you know, it makes a lot more sense, right?
Wait, what? I'm sorry. I got
the word bar is Sumerian for altar.
Really?
That's according to Juan One on One podcast.
Oh, like when you got to a bar.
Yeah, like that's the Sumerian word for altar, you know. So you're drinking alcohol, which is the body eating spirit, at the altar.
There's a Sumerian deity named Abgar, I'm pretty sure. No, Agbar. Maybe. I don't know. Pretty sure it's Agbar. So there you go. I don't know.
Some Sumerian fuckery.
So yeah, you go to the bar and you
drink spirits. Yeah.
You go to the altar and you
participate in the body eating spirit.
You're absolutely right. It's a shame, man.
Right, but it's like makeup, right? I mean, when you read the Book of Enoch, you realize that alcohol, weapons, makeup, this is all stuff that the fallen brought to us, you know, from, you know, when they fell, you know, in exchange for human women, they gave us these tools of fuckery, and if you've seen some of these videos where they take like the girl with no teeth off the streets, and then they put a bunch of makeup on her, and they put some like a mouthpiece in there, and she went from looking like a total crackhead, like meth head, to fucking like a beautiful model, like, you know what I mean? It was like,
That's
and
terrifying.
it's complete like sorcery. If you
It
think
is.
about it, because like it
Yeah.
was a for real transformation.
Yeah, no, dude. My wife, she just cuts hair now, but she used to do makeup. Dude, she even recognized it and was like, she's like, I'm making these little girls look like they're like 20 something when they go to prom and shit. You know what I mean? So she quit doing it. She would tell me how like the dads would look at her. And now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, oh man. Yeah, because I have a small daughter. I know you have a few kids.
Yeah, my son
As
just
well.
turned 18 yesterday.
Yeah, dude,
So
that's
now I have an
awesome.
adult. So now I even have an adult son, and I have 3 daughters. One's 13 with the attitude of a 16, 17-year-old. And then I have an 8-year-old that's training for the Olympics. And my 6-year-old is following in her footsteps. So yeah,
That's awesome, man.
I'm busy. I'm busy and blessed, my friend.
Yeah, man, you got two close together. Mine are like 10 years apart. So it's like me and my brother when I was growing up. He's 10 years younger than me.
Well, Steven, he's pretty much 10 years older than the 2 younger ones.
Right. Right. That's awesome, man. You get to kick it with your son now and teach him about what's really going on, right?
Well, I try to as much as possible without being too
Too
overbearing,
forward.
I
Yeah.
yeah.
I completely
Which is
understand.
like, my problem is like I can't even have regular conversation with people anymore because it's just, it's just like I just can't. I have
Me
no
either.
I have no button that allows me to like allow bullshit to hit my ears and not like address it. You know what I mean? Model in the cheat, no teeth in the sheets.
Yeah, man. Shout out JC. He comes with some bangers.
Oh god, that's so true. I mean, she went from crackhead homeless to,
I've seen that
OnlyFans.
video. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Yeah, that's sorcery, bro. Like that's straight up sorcery.
See if those
Just
pictures
like
came
this
in
thing
on the
right
thing.
here is a portal.
What's up? Oh, what, the laptop?
Yeah, the phone, like it's a
Oh, the phone.
portal,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
portal to another, dimension of reality, where people get more obsessed with that reality than what's going on in actual reality. You know what I mean? Like they're not jumping rope, they're not hanging the bag, they're not running, they're just staring with their neck
Yeah.
down. That gives themselves like a problem. They got to go to the chiropractor, and he's like, "You look down at your phone a lot, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." Like that's that's what people have been created with these little portals.
Yeah. Yeah, I've fell victim to that before, dude. Just fucking being on my phone too much. Been working on it a lot lately though.
Well, as long as you're creating something and you're not just
I've
scrolling,
been
you know what
real
I
busy
mean?
this past
Like
week creating shit.
it's
Yeah.
diff it's different because then you're manifesting, you're creating, you're doing things on your terms, your energy is being used on your terms. That's a little bit different than just having the energy sucked out of you by scrolling some social media and just accomplishing nothing, and literally almost most people are learning nothing. They're just being completely entertained, just bread and circus.
Yeah. You had sent me that one picture earlier of the baseball game.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like it's just like it's never ending, bro. Like I was watching Raw Deal with Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1984 and 1986. And in the very beginning of the movie, the bus is bus 77. And then just a few minutes later, he walks across the street and there's a car with the license plate 4242 right there. I mean, it's double 42 and it's just four numbers. 42,
so
42.
Explain to people what these numbers are. People who haven't seen our other episode or just don't know kind of who they represent.
Okay, well, according to Aleister Crowley, right, which is like the ultimate trust fund dork that these generation
Fed.
of this generations of guys look up to, and what I believe is what they're trying to manifest this guy's kind of like the magnum opus or whatever to, kind of bring it to life, because when you study alchemy, you realize that like to achieve what they're trying to achieve, it has to happen in the spiritual realm and in the physical realm, all simultaneously, right? So when Aleister Crowley tells us that, that the goat of Mendes, is him renaming the Baphomet, which I believe is just them renaming Semyaza, this is the lead fallen angel. And he tells us that his number is 77, right? And then talks about this entity called the Dark Mother, which is pretty much, the proponent of death. And I believe that he's just renaming, this entity, Ishtar, Venus, it's all the same thing. And her number is 42. Inanna, and her number is 42, right? And so what he says is, when you see 77 and 42 everywhere, you'll know that the Aeon of Horus has arrived. You'll know that the goat of Mendes and the Dark Mother have arrived. And what I believe is that they're just trying to bring, ever since World War II, they're just trying to bring this to life by implanting these numbers in all these events in kind of a sly, slick, ritualistic way where it's impossible for them to show up in a coincidence over and over and over again. It's clearly some sort of worship.
Not a coincidence, man.
It's
you
impossible.
Really showed me last time what you exposed these things to me, and it really it opened my eyes to a lot more. And now we text on the regular, and I'll send you these pictures of just 77 everywhere, and you're just like,
and
you'll send me
the couple like the Arnold Schwarzenegger ones, that was perfect. That's a perfect example of, here's a guy that supposedly became famous because there's a video of him doing some crazy shit to some of these trust fund dorks, right? And what the rumor is, he got down on his knees in a circle, amongst all these guys at the Bohemian Grove to become the most famous bodybuilder, weightlifter, the Dark Mother is Oprah.
Could be it embodying that spirit.
Oh God, this guy's cracking me up.
Oh, but dude, anyway, he'll crack you up all night. JC, we love you, man.
Yeah, I'm JLC, so it makes sense too, because we're kindred spirit. But yeah, man. So for what I believe and what Aleister Crowley tells you straight up in the Book of the Law and the Book of Lies and
Liber 77.
Liber 77, the Book of Oz. It's Liber Oz, the Book 77, right? And, once you study this stuff, you realize that this stuff's everywhere. I mean, Anton LaVey had 77 infernal names. Like, it's
Anton Levy,
whatever,
Wasn't he Jewish?
I don't really study that guy that much. The only thing I know is that he was probably LARPing and trying to, score with some goth chicks. You know what I mean? And then,
he had Jane Mansfield. That actress, he had her like spending the night and shit, doing like sacrificing fucking small animals, taking pictures and shit. Her and Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, I think in the end everyone's trying to, follow in the footsteps of, Helen Blavatsky, Aleister Crowley, these occultists that believe that they're, that like John Dee, from the 1500s believe that he's talking to actual angels, Raphael, Gabriel and stuff like that to dictate to him this language. So I believe that it's just these generations of ancient trust fund dorks always trying to, control these entities or vice versa. And at the same time, keep us as dumbed down as possible so that we don't realize what actually is going on. Because, 100%, this is a spiritual war. And like I said, you're either on the side of love or you're on the side of control and manipulation and fuckery and and I'm on the side of love, which, call that the side of Jesus, call that the side of Yeshua, call that the side of light. I don't really care what you call it, but we know what it is.
Yeah.
It's very clear, that, like we have kids, we would do anything to protect them, and that's very, very clear to us. And not only would we do anything to protect our kids, but if we saw any child being hurt in front of us, like you can guarantee that we would step in and, do something about it. So, all I can say is that these guys in the end are going to get what's coming to them. I truly believe that, whether they, the supply chain, like look, and like what's happening now with the ports. I said back in April, stay stocked up.
Yeah.
I said, freaking, it's going to be a supply chain. That's the only thing that makes sense. I don't wait for the news to tell me what to do. You know what I mean? Like I go by the evidence. I go by the playbook. And if you go by the playbook, when they took out that bridge in Baltimore, which opened in 1977, that was a huge supply chain, like bridge right there. Right. So, like you already knew that they were up to, they're always up to some fuckery. And what you got to do is learn the playbook. And you don't have to put that much effort into it as soon as you know it. It's clear. It's crystal clear to me what's actually going on here. And honestly, no one could convince me otherwise. Not Sam Tripoli, not anyone he has on his show, not Thomas, not Juan, not you. I mean, I've read it right from the trust fund dork himself. And, I truly believe, if you put it together, that's what's going on. I don't believe these numbers are real. I believe that they just have to put them in their thing.
Absolutely.
They have to put them in their narrative. I don't believe that these numbers are actually being controlled by entities. I believe that these trust fund dorks, they're paying homage to these entities by implanting these numbers into everything in a very obvious way. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I mean, the Sumerian deities, they all have numbers, like ranging from like Ea and Enlil, and then Marduk holds like the highest rank, and then Shamash, and then Sin, and then Adad, and like it keeps going down. I don't know. It's very, and then you see these numbers used in certain rituals, in the Necronomicon, and in other like other texts, other occult texts. So yeah, there's definitely something to it, dude. This shit's uncanny. It's not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. I've said that like 1,000 times. But no.
Yeah. So for the people watching, if you go back to about World War II, that's when it all starts. From what I can see, there's not much of it in World War I. And what that truly tells me is that when Aleister Crowley was getting old and he was dying, and that was when he was most famous, you know what I mean? At the very end of all his fucking bullshit. That's when these guys started like doing this 77 shit, mostly starting with the 77th Congress, and everything that they did started with this 77 stuff. It was really, it was really then that they started, even though it goes back further. And 77 is a very ancient number, and 7 is a very ancient number, and it's
absolutely,
a
dude.
number used in every civilization. The way they're using it, pretty much starts, what I can see from my research, from what's going in my book, around the end of Aleister Crowley's life, which is around like World War II time.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say that number. Let me see if I can pull this up. Like I was talking about the certain ranks of the deities. I don't know. Maybe the number is because when you see it used in other places, it's like it has this many demons under it or this many legions under it. When you see it in like certain biblical texts or whatever. But so you think, did he invoke this number like to be used when he did these rituals in like the king's chamber?
No,
that one time he went in there, or
I don't think he invoked it. I think he's just telling you.
He was the first one to start using it.
He's telling you what they are claiming to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where he gets these numbers from. Maybe he just made them up. You know,
I'm sure he channeled them. Or he did it through sodomy. I don't know. He was a weird guy. He was a real weird guy. So
yeah, I mean, when you have like poems called White Stains, you know what I mean? And like, you know, you're trying to justify doing things to 3-year-olds, you know, you're not a good guy. And
he climbed Mount Everest.
Yeah, he climbed the Eiger, which is in Switzerland, which is, you know, they made a lot of movies about that, which is like straight up, you know, so he was a mountaineer, you know. That's on point 77. You are so cool. Sorry, I'm reading the comments because they're popping up.
No, that's all good. You can read them.
Yeah, but Aleister Crowley was, you know, into magic. He was into mountaineering. He was into rituals. He was into secret societies. But really, he was just, you know, a guy that was a trust fund dork that got money from his parents and, you know, was able to be bored and look for things to do, you know, and study all this occult stuff, which once you start studying it, you can't go back. It's more interesting than anything that's presented to you. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, you know, it's all about where you spend your energy, and that's what Crowley was trying. That's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, "Do what thou wilt," is the whole of the law, and he's telling you, you know, you could be a god, you know, if you put forth the effort and do whatever the fuck you want. Essentially, that's what he's saying. And so everyone believes this, and they go about this acting this way by getting us to agree to these rituals by getting our permission. They're like, "Oh, you're going to get sick. Wear a mask." And then instead of us saying that's bullshit, everyone goes, "Yeah, the good. Yes, we all got to wear it. You got to wear it too." And then there's all this like you know, everyone's trying to, you know, put the Black Lives Matter flag in their freaking yard and shit like that because they're falling for every fucking psyop. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
Yeah, man. I mean, I haven't seen many of them around here. You probably see more Trump flags around here, but
that's a psyop. It's all.
That's a psyop.
It's just as bad. So, that's as bad. And let's be clear, everyone. Let me just make everyone mad at once right now. Yes, I know about sigil magic, and this is the type of stuff that Aleister Crowley would do. But let me just say something right now.
Yeah.
Is that if you're flying a Trump flag, if you're trying a Biden flag, you fell for the psyop. You've completely fallen for the psyop, because I guarantee you neither one of these sides do anything but worship the fallen angels. Like they're not like Trump has the black cube of Saturn right on top of his building. It's the same black cube that you'll see all over. The same one in Mecca.
The same one that the Hasidic Jews wear on their on their forehead.
Yeah, exactly. This is all Saturn worship, and they've tricked everyone to believe that they're worshiping something else. And this is across the line, right? This is across the line. This is why it's so important to just uh, 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 align yourself with the side of love, and we know what side that is. It's the side of, yeah, I'm sure he did.
Yeah, Scott, he did, bud.
I'm sure he did. Fucking piece of shit. If I could,
he was all
if I could, I would definitely bitch slap Aleister Crowley if I could, just for humanity's sake.
Yeah, I'd fucking boot him off that mountain. Just kick him. But yeah, man. So you think it's the intent on how you use that number?
Yeah, I think so. Because
it's
think
like that with a lot of things.
I think that like you could make it, in a way that, maybe like that's why they put it in movies, to also try to make them successful. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's to like get people to watch them as well, can serve as multiple things going on as once. But
yeah,
I definitely believe that they're giving a shout out to these two entities. And then the other two numbers that you'll see everywhere is 33 and 93, which is 93 is Aleister Crowley's number. That's Thelema.
Right?
Yep, that's Thelema. And if you go on Reddit right now, everyone go to Reddit, go to Thelema. You'll see all these fucking dorks greeting each other with 93. Instead of saying hi, they're going to say 93, 93. So it's proof to you that these followers of this dork are out here, and they probably don't even realize what he is really into. I promise you. Because if they do, they're whacked out as well.
Yeah, dude. And we talked about this last time, I think, just a little bit, but that 42, when you look at those A24 movies and how there's like a theory that they're cursed, quote unquote.
Yeah, and that totally fits because that goes.
You look at those movies,
that's 42, right?
Dark feminine. The dark feminine like manifest in those movies. Midsummer, fucking Hereditary, like a bunch of shit, dude. The Witch. Yeah, man. So, like you said, I definitely think there's something to that.
Look, the three main pictures in Detroit that showed were those three pictures that I put on that poster. The 77 with his hands up, the guy that was 33, it just showed his entire back, and then all the 42s. And I don't know why everyone's wearing 42 at once. I mean, it's a Jackie Robinson call out. I know that, but how convenient, right? It's always so fucking convenient. You know what I mean? It's always there. It's always there. It never fails. It never fucking fails. And I'm just focusing on 77 for my book and for my like little picture comic book thingy, because like, do I need to go into 42 and 33 too? My Lord. Like, I mean, 77 is enough.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
that's proof. That's, to me, if you give me 5 minutes with anyone and give me a chance to explain the 9/11 mass ritual and the Oklahoma City mass ritual, just those two alone, it's impossible for all those 77s to line up. Just those two alone.
You want to explain it?
Well, in 9/11, it starts off in 1941 with September 11th, 1941, the 77th Congress started building the Pentagon, and they built it 77 feet high. They built it on the 77th longitude, and they built it with 77 5,500 windows, right? So right there, you've got building, a lot of planning. Like, think about how much planning is going into, like, I'm in construction. I've done residential, I've done commercial. Right now, I'm a supervisor of a commercial construction company. So I'm talking to the subcontractors. I'm keeping track of hours. I'm making sure jobs are getting done. It's, all that stuff, right? I know exactly what goes into planning for construction. Now, if you're talking a government project, the size of the freaking Pentagon, there's so much planning into that you can't even imagine. So they planned it to be 77 feet high. And it was, of course, the 77th Congress. And what's the date? September 11th, 1941. So put that in your head. September 11th, 1941. The 77th Congress built it 77 feet high, 7,700 windows on the 77 longitude. And then exactly 60 years later, on 2001, they complete the ritual by what flight hits the Pentagon? It's impossible. You're going to tell me you're going to have all these 77s in the construction, and now you want me to believe just randomly that they just happen to choose the same plane that all the construction lines up with? And then the crazy part is, the really crazy part is that flight 77, was in the air for exactly 77 minutes. Not to mention that was 577 minutes into the day. But I'm not even going to count that one. Let's just throw that one out for a second. All right, the 577 minutes. Flight 77 was in the air for 77 minutes. Yes, Flight 77 was in the air for 77 minutes. And it hit the wall that was 77 feet tall. So put that in your brain for a second. Now, here's another very, very weird part of the ritual, because that protocol pretty much runs the government, so they say. Well, if the Pentagon is under attack, then there's this thing called the Mobile Command Center, right? AKA the Doomsday Plane. And that should be on the other side of the country. If we're being attacked on the East Coast, it should be on the West Coast. But for some odd reason, it took off 7 minutes after the first attack from Andrews Air Force Base. And then when Flight 77 hit the Pentagon, it was flying right over the Pentagon. Like it was directly over it. And what was the call sign of that plane? Venus, another word for Ishtar, Venus,
right.
77.
Shit, dude.
Venus,
that would
77.
Complete the ritual.
And Venus is a 7-sided star in esoteric symbolism, right? So there adds another layer of it too as well, right? So then here's some more. American Airlines Flight 11 hits the World Trade Center on the 77th floor. Like, you can't make this shit up. And I want everyone to know that these aren't my 77s. Like, I've heard that before when I'm trying to explain. Someone goes, "Oh, is this one of your 77s?" Like, I looked at him like, what? Like, there's truly is a disconnect if people think that these are my 77s because I just kind of found them and realized there's something seriously going on here, and then started looking into all these other events, and it's overwhelming the amount of 77 worship that's going on.
Dude,
every single war.
I've looked into things and been overwhelmed by the symbolism that I see reoccurring, or the number patterns, or like the esoteric number patterns or whatever. Like, I know exactly what you're talking about. It does make you feel a little crazy, but then you realize that
it's not
all
you.
These people that are participating in these rituals, they believe this shit too. It doesn't matter what we believe, because all these people, they believe it.
Right.
And they're the ones doing this shit.
And the ironic thing, Jules, is everyone's participating in the rituals and they don't believe them. everyone's participating. They're watching the TV, they're voting, they're freaking thinking it's real, they're thinking this is real. They're all participating with their energy, with their attention. They're paying attention. Yeah, right. They're losing their energy, they're losing their time and their opportunity to accomplish things, to go after things, by just staring at some of this fake fucking news. You know what I mean? So, I try to dictate as much of my energy as possible. For example, one way that they try to hide stuff in there is, through, bigger numbers. For example, in the 9/11 ritual, they tell you, excuse me, 343 first responders died. And so on 9/11, that's all I saw was 343, 343, 343. Well, that's 7 times 7 times 7.
Okay.
In the Sandy Hook shooting, it was how many bullets were shot. It was 154. That's 77 plus 77. Right? It's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. Right? Today I was looking up TW80, and then it was 230 people killed. And I was like trying to figure it out. And then that was 77 plus 77 plus 76.
So, do you think there's a possibility that these numbers are being used like from behind the veil, like in the ether by these entities?
I mean, that's one possibility, but I'm more inclined to believe that it's trust fund dork worship, and
because they manipulate our reality.
Because nobody's gonna be able to check to see all those people died. If all those, like, no one's gonna be able to check to see if they can find all the names. And it's like, how is anyone gonna backtrack all that? So yeah, I can see them lying about the numbers. Like in Uvalde, the gunman was left unchallenged for 77 minutes. Well, okay, is that really true? Or was it 72 minutes? You know what I mean? But they're going to tell us 77 minutes because that's going to help them hit their quota. And Jules, my biggest thing that I always am curious about is they clearly believe there's going to be some sort of blowback if they don't implant these numbers in their rituals. And what is that? What is that? What is this blowback that they believe? Like, what is the karmic, retribution that they're scared of if they don't hit their quota? Because it's clear that they've got some sort of requirement.
They have a soul tie. Yeah. It's
something's going on with it, and it just makes me want to smack the fuck out of them even more, because they're
spiritual.
They're so retarded.
Drinking my spirit.
Hey, I don't judge, man.
44 people on board Flight 93.
Yeah, and 93 is a very
Flight 93. Yeah,
peculiar number. The sun's 93 million miles away. Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon for 93 minutes. The ISS goes around the world in 93 minutes. Like, that people don't realize that these four numbers, and I always throw 666 out because I believe that really is like, look over here, here's the devil,
right.
Here's the devil, and everyone gets
put in the British newspaper with, right alongside Crowley, calling him the most evil man alive.
Yeah, I really do believe that's all the distraction.
So if they're putting that number out there, is that the true number he's using? I mean,
no.
Does he talk about that number at all?
I mean, I haven't. Just as it deals with Revelation, as far as I can see, and obviously he was very anti-biblical type guy. He's trying to get everyone to realize that they are their own God, kind of like, what the fallen angels, want us
what
to
they try to
believe.
teach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But he renames these demons, like 333 is the number of this core zone demon. You know what I mean? That he did this ritual which attacked his friend and supposedly threw him down to the ground, in the middle of the ritual, So it's very, very interesting that with all these different names for these entities,
that
once
name
you
reminds me of Kronos.
and once you read, The Secret Teaching of All Ages, and you hear Manly P. Hall talk about these elementals and these spirits, these nature spirits, you realize
like
that
eight episodes on them, dude. From
I mean,
his
are all
text.
these entities bad? I mean, maybe
Y'all go
not.
check those out
Maybe
if y'all
there's
haven't, guys.
maybe there's an ethereal war going on, with the nature spirits and some of these fallen angel spirits and these demons that are disembodied. Like, who knows what's going on? Maybe we can't even comprehend what's going on because our minds are just too small. But one thing I know is whatever they're presenting is not the case, guys. Like, it's not the exoteric presentation. You have to be a detective and go do some of your own searching and let God guide you. Like, he'll help you find what's going on. And for me, it was him directing me to these 77s. Like, for example, I was doing research for my book and I'm like, the Uvalde one really scared me because I'm sitting here trying to find all these events. And then I see on Twitter, all these cops run out of the school and they're throwing up, right? They're just puking on each other. And then I go, oh, fuck, I haven't looked into Uvalde. And I find it immediately. The very first newspaper clipping I find is the gunman was left unchallenged for 77 minutes. Now, I've already found like 10 that night. And I sit back in my chair like the demon is talking right to me. And it's like, oh, you found me. Like, be careful. Be careful. Like, it was like it talked right to me and I got like a weird sick feeling, right? And then I sent that to my friend and no shit, 5 minutes later, and I didn't find this on my own. Like you, she found it because she works out in my boxing class. And she's like, she was totally in a bubble, didn't believe any of this shit. And of course, it's impossible for me to have fake conversations. I don't even call them regular conversations. I call them fake conversations. Right.
Yeah. I can't
So
have any conversations with people. It's hard for me to meet my son's friends' parents.
They'll get there.
One who's a schizo like me, so
they'll get there.
Yeah.
And she sends me back a picture of look what I found, and it's a 77-page report talking about the shooting, and that was the official report released by the Attorney General. So in Uvalde, they held parents back and listened to gunshots. Everyone, listen to my voice. They held parents back, body slammed parents, and they listened to little kids being shot for 77 minutes.
Fucking sick, dude.
For 77 minutes, right? Whether it was 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it could have been that short and they just tell us it's 77 minutes. But if it really was 77 minutes, it's even worse. Like, because the cops are trained to run to the target immediately, even if they're by themselves. So there was definitely some orders that they were following right there. And people were, having to, just stand around and listen to gunshots.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, don't try to get me to believe anything the news ever says again.
I absolutely agree, dude. Yeah, that Uvalde event.
That's the worst one. To me, it's even though so many other ones where mass people were killed. To me, that one is showing.
That one was allowed to happen. It seems. Right?
They're all allowed that. They're all allowed to happen.
Yeah,
they have to happen.
In
They're
so
all
many
part of
ways,
the.
they are
They're all
all
part of the
allowed to
ritual.
happen.
You know, like whether that guy is a MK Ultra like bug, you know, or if he knew what he was doing and someone said, "Oh, we'll pay you to do this or whatever. We'll hook up your family." You know, whatever the case may be, we don't know what kind of tactics they may have used to get someone to do that. But a lot of these people wake up from these. Columbine was 49 minutes. That's 7 times 7, just so you know.
I was about to say, can you break that down? Is there more that you can kind of dive into on that?
I mean, I can go over the list if you guys want. You know what I mean?
Of course, dude. Yeah, I'm sure everyone would love that. What's going on, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
Soul Explorer. I don't think I said hey to you early.
Bless you. God loves all of you. You know that,
Scott.
right?
Nah, these are all my people, man. I'm streaming on X for the first time in months.
My ex like got stolen from me. Tom, everyone says that they could still like no one's doing anything on it, but I can't get back into it. And I see the exact moment when they changed the email and kicked me out. Like, because I don't recognize the email that's like, you change your email to this. I'm like, no. And I messaged X. I was like, can I get my page back? And no one gets back to me. So I'm done.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah, I'm done.
Hey, I kind of feel you.
So I'm Semyaza 77 on X. If you got, I have another one. It's like I'm trying to see if that will work.
That.
Yeah, I did because I'm trying to see if maybe I can, you know, fight a little fire with fire. Maybe if they think I'm on their team, they'll let me, you know, like not steal my fucking shit. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Yeah, no.
But I have a list of, you know, all of the events pretty much where, you know, where I believe, you know, this 77 worship is going on. And obviously, you know, in Oklahoma City, let's just start there. In Oklahoma City, you know, that was the same day, just 1 year later after the Waco. And they used the Waco ritual as the reason he did the Oklahoma City. So see how it ties in?
I know.
It ties in. He's like, oh, well, what you did to David Corral, I'm going to get you back. You know what I mean? So they always got some puppet that's going to take the fall for everything. And who knows, like, if they're just an idiot or if they're really in on it or if their family's getting rewarded, you know, for, you know, who knows, you know, or if they're just, you know, a puppet, you know, they're just the one that a pansy, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
A faggot.
Okay, so here's the list. So Oklahoma City sits right next to Route 77, you know, which there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on Route 77, including
Where
JFK.
are those pictures, dude? They didn't come through my email. Did you send them to the right email?
Yeah.
graypilledpodcast@gmail.
Yeah, I did because it came right up.
Was it too large?
Yeah, it might have been.
Said.
I'm gonna try it again.
Yeah, do that. Bobby, you haven't missed anything. We're still going.
Bobby, so we're gonna start with the list right now. I'm gonna start over and I'm gonna start it.
I gotta get some of those shirts, dude. You have to plug your merch site before we get out of here. Not anytime soon, by the way. Let me know if you have a heart out or anything.
It's not what you think.com, everyone. It's a new website. And I put all my my posters up there, which will be in my book, and they pretty much is like a picture way of like getting people to realize that, you know, hey, you can go look in the museum of Boxcar and see that they still have the 77 on Boxcar, which dropped the bomb on Nagasaki, right? So when I say the 77th Congress started World War II with Public Act 77 after Pearl Harbor in the Arizona had 1177 sailors die on it, right? And then the 77th Congress, which built the Pentagon 77 feet high, does Public Act 77, and that starts the war. And then how does the war end? When Boxcar drops the second bomb on Nagasaki, right? And boom, that's a 77 on Boxcar, right? And, I believe, once I go over this list, people will realize that this shit's impossible for it to be a coincidence. And it's some dark sort of like worship. And when you follow Aleister Crowley's
once you
playbook,
start to recognize it, that's why, it's important to.
So Oklahoma City sits right next to Route 77. Terry Nichols, who was Timothy McVeigh's partner, he was arrested with a cache of 77 guns. His attorney was disbarred at age 77. I mean, it's in there, it's in the narrative. So I just threw it in there, even though I think that could be actually a real coincidence. It's in the narrative. It's in the newspaper story, so I put it in there. So next to Route 77, the 77 guns, he's disbarred at 77. Alfred P. Murray Building is open in what year? 1977. What type of report did they release? Well, they also released a 77-page report, which identified 77 victims by DNA. And Timothy McVeigh was arrested exactly 77 minutes after the bombing in his 77 Ford Mercury. Like, you can't make this shit up, right? And the FBI stated in the 77-page report that they used aluminum powder, which increased the bomb by 77%. And it's exactly 77 months before the 9/11 mass ritual. Right? So let's go to 9/11, right? You go to 9/11, and 9/11 is the 77th Congress, built at 77 feet high with 7,700 windows, 77 feet tall on the 77th longitude. It's hit by Flight 77, which was in the air for 77 minutes, which was 577 minutes into the day. The Boeing E-4B Advanced Airborne Command Post took off 7 minutes after the first plane crash, and its call sign was Venus 77. The World Trade Center was hit by American Airlines Flight 11, which is also Aleister Crowley's number of magic, which can be used in any number of ways. But that was hit on floor 77, the 77th floor. Sorry, I get a little mad when I start talking about this stuff. 2977 victims. How many victims? Innocent victims. Don't count the hijackers, because we don't know if they even were real, right?
Yeah,
we don't even know if they were real, right? But we know that there was 2977 victims that they tell us. We don't know if those are actually.
Let me ask you this, John. Do you think that they landed the planes and then killed the passengers?
I mean, there's nothing that wouldn't shock me, Jules. Like, it could get
did
so
they fly
dark.
Empty planes, or were they holograms and bombs? That's the main thing that I've heard an argument over with 9/11 is if they were actual planes or just hologram bombs, basically.
Well, Philip Marshall, and I think he's one of the heroes of the conspiracy world that, a lot of people, probably don't know. But he supposedly killed his son, his daughter, and his dog as soon as his book came out. And his book pretty much was, he's a pilot. And, when you're a pilot, you're pretty much like one of those actors. You sign your life away. You sign the contract. You got to keep your fucking mouth shut, right? Yeah. Well, he wrote a book, and he's not the first person that said this, but since the 90s, you can't hijack a plane. As soon as you try to, you're locked out of the cockpit, and air traffic control controls the plane. This technology has been around, right? So he's like, hey, 9/11 definitely didn't happen the way and then he gets killed. 2 bullets to the back of the head. suicide like Gary Webb. You know what I mean? Like another 2 bullets to the back of the head, fucking suicide. That's them letting you know that go ahead, fuck around and find out. That's what they're letting you know when they do that, right? Especially when the cops are like, suicide. It's a suicide, right? And we know that
the worst case of suicide, the worst.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, I've even seen 3 bullets to the back of the head suicide, guys. So just so you know, like, I mean, there's nothing. It could get so dark
3 times,
but I do believe that that there was probably people on the planes that they sacrificed because they have no problem killing as many. It's all a calling, right? They want less people. The Georgia Guidestones, which are right next to Route 77, in between the 77 farm, tells us that they want 500 million people, not 7 billion, to govern. They only want to govern 500 million, not 7 billion. And that's why they keep having these resets and these mud floods and stuff like that. And I believe that this 2030 reset that we're approaching is, going to run off this supply chain culling, which goes along with the last COVID ritual. But let's continue with the list because otherwise, it'll take forever. But George Bush.
We can take as long as you want, dude.
George Bush's dad was Prescott Bush, who was in charge of the Federal Reserve. He was good friends with Aleister Crowley.
And he started the CIA.
So keep this in mind. And so then George Bush was put in charge of the CIA in 1977. And he was 77 years old on the 9/11 ritual, right? During the ritual, George Bush would be considered the high priest of the ritual. He's reading My Pet Goat, which is 77, the Baphomet, Semyaza, right? And what are the words of the book that he's reading? It's like plane, hit, steal, and all the kids are, and then they bow. And then the guy comes in and says that the plane just hit, but he continues to read the book for 7 minutes, right? And the news made a big stink about that. They had to make sure that they ripped on George Bush because he was so occupied for 7 extra minutes with the book, right? Because he didn't want to scare the kids. Really, that was just them another way to get another 7
ritual.
Just completing they get another way to get another 7 in there, right? And then, of course, at the end of his career, what number do they make the USS aircraft carrier, the USS George Bush? Of course, it has to be 77. He's Prescott Bush's son, right? It's got to be 77. This is coming from Aleister Crowley's best friend's kid, right?
Wow.
So it makes
dude. Wait a minute. Crowley's best friend's kid
is George Bush.
So Crowley was friends with Prescott?
He was friends with Prescott
Bush. Get the fuck out. Wait a minute. So the theory of Barbara Bush.
Exactly. Exactly.
Dude, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, exactly. It all stems
fucking
it all stems from all this. It all stems from this same ancient trust fund dork fuckery. It's all the same story. You're just getting more pieces of it,
Trust fund ancient dork fuckery. That's the name of the episode.
And literally, like, that stuff has never changed, guys. Like they tricked our grandparents. They tricked their grandparents. Don't be so hard on yourself. But also don't cut them so much fucking slack either, because a lot of these guys are still so asleep. They're 70 years old. They need to wake the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, frazzle drip, all of that stuff, what happened with Anthony Weiner, any of those cops that fucking, talked about the Anthony Weiner laptop all ended up dead. You know what I mean? There's a reason. They're letting you know that, go ahead, fuck around and find out.
Straight up, dude.
So let's go to Waco. Waco sits on Route 77, right? And it was 76 Branch Davidians, right? It was 76 for the longest time. It seemed that way. And that's what most of the newspaper clippings you'll get will show. But I found one that showed you that someone died the next day and it brought the count up to 77. And so I put that on my poster. I took the font and I kind of like took it off the poster of the newspaper clipping and I put on my poster because it showed you that, you know, maybe they were starting to get scared or something and they didn't want to have 377s right in a row in the main story because Route 77. And then after the ATF got done burning the, you know, the compound to the ground, which was called Mount Carmel, right? Mount Carmel in Waco, Texas. It was 77 acres left. And they have to tell you this in the news story. Like that's like they could just leave that out. For example, the Fort Hood shooter, when he got done doing his shooting, they tell you he had 177 bullets left on him, but they don't tell you how many he shot. But they tell you he had 177 bullets left on him. That's like the most pointless stat I've ever heard in my life. Usually they tell you how many bullets were shot. This time they try to switch it around. And you'll see that as I go on, especially with some of the wars. You'll see that they didn't make all of the laws Public Act 77. You know, they started switching stuff around, but the 77 still in there, very glaring. So we'll continue on. So we just did Waco, that's 77 acres, Route 77, and then 77 Branch Davidians, 77 cult members were killed, right? Dallas, JFK assassination. Oswald shot from 7 stories with 7 windows. They were on close to Route 77, and JFK's license plate was GG. That's a 77, right? Also, Kobe Bryant's daughter is GG. That's a 77, right?
Yeah.
Anton Lavi, Luvo, Loser, his 77 infernal names. The Georgia Guidestones are right next to Route 77, and they're erected on 3/22, which is the date of Skull and Bones, right? So, July, and they were destroyed on July 6th, which was the birthday, which is the birthday of George Bush, who's the most famous Skull Bones member, who's also Mr. 77 with his aircraft carrier, right? So it's all right there. Liber Oz was Aleister Crowley's book. It's called Book 77. The Masonic one, you know, one of the 77 Masonic symbols of which represents the revenge next number. Kane was rescued by Navy Task Force 77 in Korea. One of the big air squadrons was Attack Squadron 77. Gabby Gifford was shot right next to Arizona Highway 77. And Jared Loeffner used a 33 bullet clip. Like, so they just had to tell you that.
Oh my
you know,
God, dude, 33 bullet clip.
Yeah, the worst.
I didn't want to.
The worst airline flight ever was in 1977, and the pilot was 49 years old, which is 7 times 7. It was on a Boeing 777. You know, here's a weird one. In 1977, Atari came out with on 9/11/1977. Atari was released, and it came out with the first game called Combat, which is like jihad in Arabic or something, or it's some other. Here, let me check. It means strike the target, is Japanese for strike the target. So here it is. Atari comes from the Japanese word ataru, which means strike the target, which came with the game Combat, which is Arabic for jihad. you put that together, 9/11, 1977, jihad, strike the target.
Dude.
You can't make this shit up. Columbine lasted for 49 minutes, and that's a 7 times 7, and it's obviously it was on 420. There's your 42,
Oh, fuck, dude.
9/11 was 77 months after Oklahoma City. Obviously it goes in reverse, so it goes both ways. Terry Nichols, okay, that was another one. That's Sandy Hook was 154 rounds. That's 77 plus 77. RFK died when he was 42. His birthday value of gematria is 77. Michael Jackson's name in gematria is 77. Uvalde, Texas school shooting, left unchallenged for 77 minutes. They told you that in a 77-page report. 343 firefighters died in 9/11. That's 7 times 7 times 7. Princess Diana's son William was born. Was the first in 77 years or something, born of a princess of Wales. It was like the first in 77 years, and then her designer worked at 77 Diamonds. Like, yeah. Let me say that one more time. Princess Diana's personal designer, worked at a place called 77 Diamonds.
And that whole thing is cursed. Her hitting the 13th pillar right under the bridge or whatever, and then the theory that she didn't die there.
Right.
I don't think she died there. And then there's theories that she's not dead at all. So
yeah, and I subscribe to a lot of those Jeffrey Epstein theories. Like, I think like maybe they're just on the other side of the wall, hanging out with where the aliens are, or whatever.
Disneyland,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, who knows?
Down over the ice wall.
On 9/11, Flight 93 was
dive on that soon.
On 9/11, Flight 93 was delayed for exactly 42 minutes. They tell you this in the 9/11 has 93, 42, and 77 all over it. All over. Like, all of them. Like, and I just try to focus on 77 because to me, that's enough, man.
You see the 42 in there too. And you have to have, in these occult rituals, you have to have the masculine and feminine. Right?
Yeah. And that's why when Flight 77 hit the Pentagon.
The negative and positive.
Exactly right. And that's what they truly believe. They don't believe in the devil. They believe in a female devil and a male devil almost as equals.
We've talked about this. There's many devils. Satan just means adversary. So when you look in the Sumerian text, you see that Semyaza was hanging out with Marduk's son Set. And so me and my co-host Adrian have a theory that Satan or Hasatan is Set. Basically, he's one of the many deities that are prayed to. And that's all, the all-seeing eye stuff. And it all ties into the same family, the same side, little sect even, of fallen angels from this one side of this larger tree of fallen angels, because people don't know there's like levels of angels that fell. So, and then under that you have the Nephilim and their children. So it goes really, really deep with these tainted bloodlines. And
100%. And that's just the hard thing for people to swallow.
And they've been worshipped for so long. So who is Wotan? Odin? Well, I've kind of gotten into it. That mythology aligns directly with Enki or Ea. His youngest son dying, just like Odin's son Balder dying and having to go to Helheim or Hell, which in Nordic mythology is freezing cold. So But Wotan is Odin.
Yeah, they just
like
all they do is
Hail
change.
Wotan. They're saying
They just
Hail
change
Odin.
everyone's name.
I mean, it's it's the same in my opinion and a lot of other people's opinion. It's the same family tree of fallen angels. Just I mean, if you had the knowledge that they have and the technology that they have, you'd be able to create. And this is another theory I have. You'd be able to create these avatar bodies, and I don't know, live amongst men. I guess you could say.
I think that's what AI. I think what a lot of this AI is about.
That I was gonna say
they're trying to find
the
a
modern
body.
day of that would be AI.
Yeah.
And you can even talk to AI, and they'll tell you that their fathers are Nephilim or fallen Elohim.
Yeah, and sometimes they get real fucking truthful. You know what I mean?
Truthful. Other times they get real defensive, and they'll back
other
up.
Other times, like I can't answer that.
Like I didn't say that. But no, dude, it really does. There's many deities that are worshipped. It's not all just people worshiping Satan, or people worshiping the archetypal Lucifer. Because
you read you read different accounts of like how many like fallen angels fell too. I mean, you read accounts of like 64,000, and then you read accounts of like 200. You know what I mean? It's just you know. But from what I can see is that I try to like kind of like stick to the Book of Enoch version of everything to explain things. And they fell at Mount Hermon, which is that pretty much all the civilizations agree a third of the angels fell, which is 33%, and Mount Hermon sits at 33 degrees. So 33 fell at 33, and I believe that's why they're obsessed with 33.
Mount Hermon. Yeah, dude, and it talks, and that's in Lebanon, like Lebanon, Syria region, the Cedar Mountains, I think is what it's called, or what it was called, in ancient times. But that is where Shamash, the later sun god, took the remainder of the fallen angels who didn't fall with Semyaza and Azazel or Marduk. That's where he took them, was to settle. That's what it says in the Sumerian text, to settle in Lebanon. So there was something about Mount Hermon in Lebanon that was attractive to these fallen.
I think it's the portal. I think it's the main portal. I think
maybe it is the portal. You're right.
I think I think that's the main portal, is where they came from, where they fell, and maybe that's like their strongest, like the strongest energy to be able to like maybe talk to the Father, or like have some sort of channeling. Who really knows? But I definitely think that it has something to do with them, falling there. And just to remind people about Flight 77, they tell you it came down at a 42-degree angle.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Dude. You're fucking with me now, man.
No, I swear, I'm not fucking with you. I'm not fucking with you. Somebody fact check me on that and find it. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, you're right, Soul Explorer. I mean, when you look at the Vril energy, the Thule Society, you see what they were harnessing, and who they were talking to are these Nordic beings that supposedly lived on the inside of our Earth. And to be honest with you, I think if you're a flat earther or you're a hollow earther, I mean, you could still think that there's something inside the Earth. But yeah. So the sigils that they use and you see all these Nazi sigils. Well, let's say, for instance, the swastika. I mean, if you look at ancient Hindu, it was the symbol for universal peace. And so that's taken and used for something else. But also, I think it has something to do with the deities that they're worshiping. Because people think the Nazis were Christians. They were not. They were avid occultists. Like, diehard occultists.
Yeah, dude. They were all trying to be sorcerers. Yeah, they're fucking.
Dude, Rudolf Hess. He was a faggot,
bro.
but I mean, he literally land out the sky on a parachute with like covered in talismans and sigils, trying to fight Crowley on a battlefield, or like next to the Loch and Loch Ness or something, because Crowley lived there, and people say that Crowley is the one that summoned up the Loch Ness monster. He opened up a portal in that loch.
Oh, I've never heard this angle.
Really?
Dude, I've never heard this angle. Now, dude.
I'm big in the cryptids. I actually do a Sunday night show, which I'll be streaming to X now, called Cryptid Watch, where I watch cryptid videos with the chat for like an hour and a half, and I'm big into cryptids, dude. Well, them being experiments, like genetic tinkering of fallen angels, and also guardians of inner earth.
Yeah, I believe there's a couple things going on there, including some fallen angel fuckery for sure. You know, I definitely believe that. But you saw the one guy that talked about Esau, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a really good presentation, and it really does make you think about, maybe they're just maybe they just been around. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they were created by the Lord, and they're not all fallen angel fuckery. Damn, what the fuck is wrong with this thing?
Well, there's definitely like light beings out there that are of the creator. I mean,
if we saw it, we'd probably think of it as a demon or something,
Oh, I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I think it'd be a different feeling if you felt the Holy Spirit before, or Christ, whatever people want to call it. I think it'd be kind of, if you have some kind of discernment, I think it'd be easy to spot. Maybe not. I've talked about one time on Elohim etymology that I had listened to this Coast to Coast episode. This guy met he said he had met Christ up on Mount Shasta, and then he realized that it was Enki. And then he was like, I hate to break it to you people, but Enki is Lucifer. He is the archetypal Lucifer, what later became worshipped as Lucifer. Because like I said earlier, it used to be worshipped just as a planet, as Venus, as an energy. Because when you get into that side of fallen angels and down that line, you see a lot of sex magic and a lot of chaos magic. Not so much of war machines or like war, like just that was more of the other side of the fallen angels, was death and destruction. So it's a lot though, man. But the cryptid angle, that's a whole nother aspect to it, dude. Especially when you think of the Loch Ness and you think of Crowley, and like,
yeah, I mean, I never really
rituals that he was.
I never really thought about it like that, but now it's like, God, that all makes a lot more sense of all the stuff that he was doing there that was kind of driving people crazy. Because a lot of people, there was a lot of reports of like bad stuff started happening when he started performing all these rituals. So that is super interesting. Yeah, man. And like I said, it's all 77. Like, I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but
you're not.
This is what these guys are into. You know what I mean? And
you can beat the dead horse, just don't make a homunculus.
I realized that I forgot to finish my story when I was telling you about when I was telling you guys about my research. I was in here, I was doing research, I was found like 10 things, and I said, Lord, I looked up like this and I said, Lord, I can't do it anymore. I was like, I'm done tonight. I'm done. Like, because I told myself I'm gonna do a lot more than I decided. But the Uvalde one scared me so bad that I just said, I'm done. I'm going out with my family. I'm going to watch the new Roadhouse, and I'm not going to look at another fucking 77 tonight. I go, God, I'm not going to look at it. I'm in here. I'm looking right at my ceiling, just like this, guys. And I go, God, I'm not going to look at another 77 tonight. And what's the only mile marker that they show you in the movie? Mile marker 77. And we know that there's nothing get into a movie on accident. We know for a fact, right? And it's the same thing with Godzilla, right? Godzilla, Monarch Outpost 77, which is right next to the Devil Tower, right? That's where the monster Abaddon comes out of the ground next to Outpost 77. So now they're making Godzilla biblical by naming the monster the same name as the Apollyon, Abaddon.
Wait, they named him Abaddon?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. So blatant with it, man. They're so straightforward nowadays. They don't even try to hide it.
Yeah, a lot of the movies in the
Fuck, man.
Godzilla have biblical
It's like, yeah, we
names.
summoned Abaddon from the Great Abyss, guys. Have fun.
And
This
they're
is a movie, by the way.
Yeah, they're inverting it too,
Yeah.
because one of the monsters' name is Methuselah, which is like Noah's
Because
dad.
Media wasn't an ancient Greek god, right? But
Exactly.
yeah.
But anyways, the monster's name's Abaddon. It comes out of the ground, just like in Revelation, next to the Devil's Tower, which is Monarch Outpost 77. Right? You can't make this shit up. Right? So now you've got 77, you've got
Dude.
biblical reference, you've got the demon's name, you've got it all right there in Godzilla, right? And there are other movies, just like I was saying the other day with the movie Raw Deal. You know, the bus was 77, and then you walk across the road, and it was 4242 right there on the license plate. You know what I mean? So it's right there. You watch what's the movie Eyes Wide Shut? She goes dinner 7, and he goes 7. I don't know. So like the 7 is right next to each other in the movie, and it doesn't get more occultic than Eyes Wide Shut. You know, Stanley Kubrick's pretty much letting you know who's running the world are these people that do these masked parties at these castles. And that's who's really in charge. It's not governments. It's these people at these castles wearing these masks that are doing these sex parties, right? That's what he was letting us know, right? And he put 77 in there, right? He was letting us know that 77 is definitely something going on. At the beginning of Natural Born Killers, you have 77 Sunset Strip on the TV, right? That's clearly there on purpose.
What
right?
the fuck, dude? See, we didn't get this far into 77 last time that you were on.
I think we did. It's just so much coming at you. It's hard to remember a lot of stuff, right? Because I overwhelm people with, this information.
You get overwhelmed. I'm sure you see the shit all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Subliminal Messenger goes, I'm so glad I'm not a numbers guy, because he would notice it probably everywhere, dude.
Well, yeah, because I was in buying paint the other day at Sherman-Williams, and there's a can. There's a can of set there. It's like Super 77, some sort of chemical right there on the shelf. I took a picture of it to add it to the list. It was the same day that you sent me the Arnold Schwarzenegger book.
Yep.
Which the Arnold Schwarzenegger book is 77 lessons at 77.
Lessons at 77. Yeah, dude, I saw that. I was like, what? And then Chabad Lubavitch, their headquarters is at 770.
Yep, 770.
Somewhere in New York. Yeah, I had put, dude.
And I knew about that one. Yep.
I saw all this shit in one day. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
There is a 1984
I'm glad I caught it, though.
In San Diego. There's a 1984 shooting at a McDonald's, and it lasted 77 minutes. So then they made a documentary called 77 Minutes. So they get a chance to get two birds with one stone there. They put it in the newspaper. They get the worship, and then they're like, hey, let's make a documentary. We'll just call it 77 Minutes. That's brilliant. They're like, yes, easy.
dude.
But I'll just go down this list a little bit more because we're almost done.
Yeah, no, finish up.
We're
the
almost
list,
done,
man.
and then we can go crazy. Let's see here. Topps Cards came out with the year Kennedy was killed, they came out with a 42 and 77 card deck. The year Kennedy was killed. Dylan Roof of the Atlanta church shooting, they tell you he shot 77 shots. And he was indicted on 7/7. Robin Williams' post-life documentary called Robin's Wish has a running time of 77 minutes. The July 22nd Norway shooting on that island had 77 victims. The DC shooter, most of all of those happened at 77 coordinates because they're right at the same spot in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, where all of those other 9/11 rituals happened. So they all landed on the 77 coordinates, right? Jonestown, where the guy made all those people, 900 people, drink the cyanide, that was in Guyana. The coordinates to Guyana, where Jonestown was 7.7. The Japan Airlines Flight 123 was in 1977. And it's the largest, worst airlines flight, I guess. And its pilot was 49. That's 7 times 7. Let's see here. I talked about the Fort Hood shooter. What they tell you, he had 177 bullets left on him, which is the stupidest stat that any newspaper. I've never seen that stat anywhere else. I've never seen it anywhere else where they said he had this many exactly bullets left on him. Just so you know. The Francis Scott Key Bridge, which was just earlier this year in Baltimore, opened in 1977. And when people ask me, they're like, what happened with that bridge, John? We know that you know something's different than what they're telling us. I go, well, I'll tell you this much. It's not what they're presenting. And I'm sure there's a 77 somewhere. And later on that day, I looked into it, and the very first fucking line of the very first newspaper story was opened 1977. They put it right there, very first line. You know, they're not here to fuck around. They got it out of the way. Okay, so let's go into a couple of the wars, right? Public Act 77 by the 77th Congress started World War II after Pearl Harbor. 1177 sailors died on the Arizona, right? So in the Gulf War was started with House Joint Resolution 77. House Joint Resolution 77 sent American troops to war, just like Public Act 77 sent troops to war in World War II. House Joint Resolution 77 sent troops to war in the Gulf War, right? In Vietnam, it was the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. And all of the senators voted to go to war, except 2 guys. And one of those guys was the 7th governor of the Alaska Territory, and his name was Ernest Gruning, and he was 77 years old at the day of the vote. Right? And you got to think, these votes are rituals. They're
None of this surprises me anymore.
It won't.
None of this 77.
No,
42,
it won't.
93.
No. Iraqi Freedom 2003. The Operation Iraqi Freedom passed in Congress 77-23. 77-4. There's 100 votes. 77-23. So they're finding clever ways to hide it. You know, that if it's not by doing it directly, like Public Act 77 or House Joint Resolution 77, Operation Iraqi Freedom, okay, they changed the name, but it still passed 77-23 in Congress. No problem. We hit our quota. So let's continue. Despicable Me, I saw 77, in there. There are some movies. Suspiria happens 1977. Late Night with the Devil 1977.
Still haven't seen that.
Good movie.
Watch that tonight.
It's all about Abraxas, and it tells you all about Bohemian Grove. A lot of revelation of the method in that movie. But you'll find it in any movie. Let's not even go over movies because we'll be here.
Deep dive on
You'll find it in every single movie, essentially. Probably at the casino. There's a reason that you're losing all your money to the 777.
Holy shit, dude! I didn't even think about that.
The 777. What are they called? Jules slot machine.
Slot machines.
The slot machine.
Yeah. Slot machines.
John Glenn went back to space, and of course he went back to space when he was 77. The Trump shooting, the sniper was killed by the other sniper, and he was standing on box 14, which is 7 + 7. Obviously you talked about the Jewish headquarters, which was 77, the address. Into the Blue. I was watching a movie the other day, Into the Blue, 2005, with Paul Walker and Jessica Alba. Just barely saw it. When they find the treasure on the fish finder, the coordinates are 77. I go, shut the fucking front door. I was like, no way, I just caught that. It was fucking mind-blowing. The San Bernardino shooting was 14 dead. That's 7 + 7. The Paul shooting, 49 victims. That's 7 × 7. Columbine, 49 minutes. That's 7 × 7. The El Paso shooting in 2019. The guy was sentenced to life on 7/7. He did 77 minutes of recon, and 2 of the victims were 77. Iridium Fight Agency. Iridium, the atomic number is 77. Iridium Fight Agency is like one of the biggest fight agencies for the UFC. You know what I mean? And yet the atomic number of the what is it called? The periodic table is 77 for iridium, right? So, they got it there too. Let's see here. Yeah, man. So that's pretty much everything. And remember, Dylan Roof, who shot the 77 shots at the Atlanta church. Of course, they indicted him on 7/7. You got the London bombings, which happened on July 7th. You know what I mean? That was like London's 9/11. You know what I mean? So, look, it's always there. I'm sure there's 100 I haven't found, but in my book,
finding them, I'm sure, dude.
In my book, I'm just gonna present 77 pictures of 77 events, because I'm not gonna go past that. And I'll have a little page. And I got 2 books I'm working on. I have the 77 book, which is just going to be like a picture book of these posters that I made, which will have one side of the right side will be the picture. The left side will be what I talk about the event. You know what I mean? So it will end up being 144 pages total.
When are you putting that out?
I'm trying to get it done as much as possible. I still have I'm like halfway through all my pictures. Like I sent you 30 of them just now to your phone, right? I'm pretty much like through all of that many posters and pictures, right? And you could consider those like an AI comic, essentially, because I use the AI to generate the background as occultic as much as possible. So essentially, I'm using the AI and the demons against themselves to help wake everybody up. Instead of letting the trust fund dorks dictate my attention, I'm using the tools that have been created to try to wake people up to reality and to the matrix. Remember, I don't think we're stuck in a simulation, and it's not but the matrix is in your mind. They control what you think, so they control your intentions. They control, and what you should be doing is jumping rope, hitting the bag, running, praying, meditating, and just spending as much time doing what you love to do and helping other people, passing it on, and teaching your kids how to navigate in this crazy world that they're going to grow up in. if we don't do something about it now, it's going to be super scary what they're going to have. So, and what they won't have, and I'm willing to fight to the end for my kids and your kids. Yeah, these ancient trust fund dorks. Let me tell you, if it was any of us and one of them on a desert island, probably two of them, and there was only 2 bananas, trust me, those are both my bananas. And I'm going to eat them real fucking slow as I watch both those guys wish that they had a bodyguard, to help them get a banana.
As I pull a comment up of a guy who's a banana. Nice. Synchronicities, John. Synchronicities. And yep. JC said, amen. I want to see if I can send some of those to my email real fast.
Yeah, let me check to see if it came through on mine here, because I end up like forgetting that I can like check stuff here. So let me see here. Yeah, that's called.
Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna grab my phone.
And just so you know, that stuff's called Super 77. Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive. Okay, here, let me try this. Let me try it this way instead. Oh, God dang it, dude. Select, boom.
Got it.
Boom, boom, boom. You got them?
Got it. It kind of made my brain hurt. Yeah, it'll make your brain hurt.
Yeah, well, what can you do, That's why it's so important for people to, this information doesn't do shit for you if all you do is look at information. It won't do a fucking thing for you. Listen to me very carefully. If all you do is stare at information, you think that you're waking up, you're not really catching on, right? You need to becoming more ninja, right? You need to be becoming, and that's what these superhero monks are all about. This is why they can sit in boiling oil and not be burned, because they've learned that martial arts brings them closest to source, closest to God.
And they don't fear death when they die. They can actually end up leaving their bodies. Their consciousness can leave their bodies at will. They reach a certain state of mind, I guess you could say. Trying to hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I could send those to my own Facebook.
I just want to show a few. Well, it's been preparing for a few minutes. But
think about this, people. Like, this is very interesting to me. Like you'll think you're on to something, and then you'll even stop looking for it, right? Like you'll stop looking for it, and then it'll just keep showing up, and you won't even be trying anymore, right? Like they,
I'm sure
like
everyone
the box
will start noticing,
like the box car.
More.
Like, I was looking, where's the 77s in World War II? And I'm like, okay, so Public Act 77 started World War II, right? 1177, Arizona sailors died, right? And And the 77th Congress is the one doing all this, right? So there's quite a bit of 77s there. And then I'm just kind of looking over the events, and I look at the plane, and I see the plane that dropped the atomic bomb, and it's got the 77 right there, right? And it just like, that was one of those moments when I saw a boxcar with the 77, and you realize that the World War II for the United States started with Public Act 77 and ended with boxcar. Then you realize that it just can't be. I mean, even before that, I realized, but it's just like, it just can't keep like happening. Like, I'm sorry.
It's gonna keep happening.
but it can't be a coincidence.
I should have got you to send me these fucking pictures before the show, man, so we could have showed them throughout the show. My mistake again. Well, I think I had a few, but I have this laptop is not connected to my phone.
Well, I'm just gonna start sending to you one at a time.
Right over to.
I'm just gonna send a few of them and see how many you could get here.
I was gonna say, if you want to pull them up, if they're on your computer, you can pull them up, and I can add them to the screen.
Oh, here's one I forgot to tell you guys about. Remember the Titan that sub that sank, the billionaire sub in 2023 that had everyone's attention stolen for like a week? Yeah. One of the billionaire's friends was 77 years old. There's 5 people on the sub. Yeah, one of them had to be 77. Of course. There's 5 people on the sub.
Were you just like reading about it and you saw the obituaries of them and you were just like, wait a minute?
Exactly right. I was seeing the ages of who died. Yep. There it was. All right, see if you get
a faggot. It's not.
See if you get these ones, Jules, at Grape Hill.
Okay.
I just sent 5. So see if those
Thursdays, guys.
Okay, seems like 5 worked. So I'll just send 5 at a time.
Oh, bet. Fuck yeah. Well, let's get these pulled up.
The Vegas shooter graduated in 1977 and he was married in 1977. And they just had to tell you that in the newspaper.
Dude.
That's what I mean. It's just impossible.
Did you send them to the right email?
To Grape Hill, Jules Preston. grapehillpodcast@gmail.com. Yep. Did you get them or no?
Yeah.
They're coming.
Don't give a fuck, Nancy.
What'd Nancy say?
He said my last name, but I don't care. Now you guys can cash at me.
Oh yeah, my bad. I was even thinking. I'm just reading. I'm a knuckle.
No,
remember,
I've
people.
I've actually said it before, and it used to be in my bio on YouTube and Rumble for a while before I changed it. But I don't care.
Remember, people. I'm a knuckle dragger, even though I went to the University of Michigan. You know, I'm fucking. You know, I'm dumb as a box of rocks.
You're
really
great, man. Someone brought up. I think it was Wizoki up here. He brought up. Let me scroll up here and find this comment. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. He said, anyone listening, look at this dude's highlight reels in MMA. Dude is a fucking legend. Like, yeah, man. Your reels I see on Instagram are fucking awesome.
Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I'd come. They'd let me come back and fight, but you know, since I told the truth about how they treated me when I broke my thumb off, you know, they put me in timeout, and now I haven't been able to do any of the bare knuckle stuff. So that kind of sucks. But
fighter.
Yeah, that was the funnest out of all the fighting that I did. It was definitely the bare knuckle because you barely touch them, and then they're bleeding a lot.
Fuck yeah. Doc, 77 minutes into the show. JC said, ooh, Cash App. Money sign, Jules Preston. Guys, you want to donate to the show? You can also go to my Patreon, $2 tier, patreon.com/graypillpodcast. I'll be doing some shit on there soon. It's coming. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for my co-host to finish, to get back in town. He does video editing for concerts and shows and stuff. So,
and check this out, people. The UN, the United Nations, pretty much your cover for globalism, essentially, has a group that I had, and this is so interesting that this was one of the last ones that I found that came to me. But the UN has a special group that was founded in like 1964, and it's called the Group of 77. No chick. The United Nations has a group of 77 with their own logo, a G, 77, a G, the seventh number of the alphabet. So you got 777.
And we talked about this on the last episode, that punk artist, Gigi Allen, the one that used to like throw feces at the audience and like punch girls in the face.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. I didn't know.
When
he
died, he was buried in like vomit and piss and like empty cigarette packs and beer bottles. Some very 77 shit, if I've ever heard it.
That's definitely some 77 fuckery right there for sure.
Yeah, I'm not getting it in on the email, dude. I don't know. Fucking. I don't know.
These ones say they're going through now. I don't know. I'm just sending 4 at a time. You're not getting any of these?
No, I'm not.
It's fucking wild.
Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can send. There we go.
They're in your junk, probably.
Hold on. Oh, no. Fucking no. Stop. There we go. No. It's not letting me send them either. It's being. Let me look in my junk real fast. Oh. No.
Are they in there?
No, they're not in there, dude. I wish you could pull them up. It's okay though. You don't have to. It's the Jews keeping the pictures from coming. Probably, Nancy. At least the ones we've been talking about that worship Saturn, or El, Cronus.
Same.
Well, I was talking about like when you look at the Sumerian with Enlil and you see the E and the L at the beginning and end of his name, and you look at the sons of El and they all line up with the sons of Enlil. But I think in the Canaanite pantheon, every deity is a son of El, including Enki and his kids. Because, I mean, when you look at Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Babylonian, Egyptian, it all lines up, and it keeps lining up. So, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'll have to try and send a few at a time. God, it won't even let me send. Let's see. 1, 2. Fuck.
It literally could be the trust fund dorks, because I'm sitting here looking in my outbox and like nothing's leaving my phone. Like my outbox is just filled with this. Even if I tried to send one picture and now it's just stuck in my outbox. Like,
hold on. No, it's trying to send. Hold on. Let's see. You sent me that earlier. Like I said, I should have asked you to do this before the show. Let me see if this will send. Oh, we got it. Hold on.
He's getting our hopes up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you can get your hopes up. It's fine. I'm gonna pull through. I emailed the actual size of a lot of these, so let's get some more in here.
I'm not really good at making presentations yet on this. What is this? Are we on StreamYard?
We are on StreamYard.
Yeah, I need to figure that out, because
What
that
do
would
you
definitely
use?
make. I've been using StreamYard, and what's the other one?
OBS.
OBS, and then the other one that's online. I can't think of it right now. Riverside. I've used that too.
Okay. That's Spotify?
Oh, damn.
I see that I see the Riverside thing pop up whenever I upload to Spotify. Actual size. Bitch. My phone is just being super gay.
Let me try this.
Not being no.
I'm gonna go here and see if I can send it to my
Throw it over there. The Gmail Jews. Pure evil.
Those motherfuckers.
Let's see here. I can pull them up now.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Now I got them all. Well, now I'm getting them. Now I'm getting them from you. So let's pull these up, guys. This is the one. This is the one you just made.
Yeah, I just made this. You can see. Can you see my mouse or no?
No. I don't think so.
Got it. Okay, but yeah, that's the cover of the book up there in the right-hand corner. I just, imposed it over. And if you see, let's look at Arnold Schwarzenegger real fast.
For making that with AI, bro, that's pretty fucking on point. I don't see any flaws. He has 5 fingers.
Yeah,
like
it's definitely getting better, right? And let's just talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger just for a quick second. He's the first guy to actually give birth on the big screen as a man, right? Because the movie Junior. So you got this guy in the 80s who's a specimen, who's the man's man, the barbarian, Conan, Commando, Predator, all this shit. And then 10 years later, as they're starting to really push their Ishtar worship, they have this movie called Junior. And when that came out, it was super funny. It was silly. Everyone laughed. Like, no one took it serious. But what is it? It's this guy giving birth. This is the beginning of the Ishtar. This is the beginning of the Ishtar worship. And once you track Hollywood, you'll realize that Hollywood literally was only created to turn men into women and women into men. Literally, it is there to entertain people. But the main reason is because they started out with this cross-dressing stuff right away. Charlie Chaplin, like all these guys, they were really pushing it early.
Right. Yeah.
They're really pushing it early. And you can find, and like Cat Williams said, you won't find a man in Hollywood that wore a dress unsuccessfully. Right?
Well, when you look at the cults of sin and the cults of Ishtar, and you do go back, you do find that, like, I think they were practicing that shit. Like, I don't know if they were just homosexual, they were just gay, or they were mutilating themselves, or I don't know if it was like an energy transfer, perhaps. I don't know.
I think for the trust fund dorks, they get us to mutilate ourselves while they just like dress up. Like, that's what I think. Like, because you look at like Happy Rockefeller, like that. She had the biggest Adam's apple.
Happy Rockefeller. Think of that name.
Happy Rockefeller, huge hands, huge hands. You think Michelle Obama has big hands? Look at Happy Rockefeller. There's a few pictures of
Big Mike.
Huge.
Shout out Big Mike, everybody.
Let's go to the next picture.
Okay. Well, here I'm gonna take us out so I don't show my email.
Because I gotta wake up at 5 in the morning.
Dude, yeah, no. Whenever you have to get out, dude, just let me know. And we'll wrap it up whenever.
We'll go through some of these, and then we'll split. All right, so here's a good example that shows you, like, okay, you know, I've made the Semyaza over the car right here. You know, you can see Semyaza 77. And these are all facts. 77 guns, 77%, 77 victims identified by DNA. It sits right on Route 77, just like the JFK and the Georgia Guidestones and all these other things, which have a lot of 77s, you know, 77 months before 9/11. And he's arrested 77 minutes after the bombing, right? In his 77 Ford Mercury. Like, that was the one that made me laugh.
Sevens.
He's 77 Ford Mercury. This is what you call a mass ritual. It's not just a ritual. It's a mass ritual.
It's a large scale ritual. Yeah, it happens even today. No one notices it. And dude, it's a giant death cult.
Funny story.
Death cult.
Funny story. I posted this in a Tartarian group on Facebook, and the moderator goes,
Tartarian group.
He goes, "What is this?" He goes, "What is this?"
Tartaria.
And I go, "Just facts." And then he goes, "Look, man, we're not trying to get political here. I'm gonna have to take this down." I was like, "What? Political?" I was like, "What the fuck?" And before I could even respond, I was kicked out of the group for just posting this. So it's a truth group, right? It's a truth group. It's a conspiracy group. It says any information is welcome. All perspective is welcome. I posted 77s, and they just looked at it and their brain went burp, 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 boop, beep, beep, pop, and they just kicked me out.
Shut down. Yeah.
Yeah, it just shut down, you know? So
shut it down.
So look, there's levels to this enlightenment thing. And, you know, a lot of it is mental. A lot of it is spiritual. A lot of it is physical. Right. I suggest you practice, because the alchemist will tell you that you have to achieve the magnum opus in all four realms simultaneously.
You're
right?
Absolutely correct.
Your spiritual, your etheric, you know, it has to happen in all four realms at once. So, and I believe that's what these elite trust fund dorks are really trying to do, right?
You trust fund faggots. All right, here we go. London bombings. Really? On 7/7?
Yep, July 7th. Yeah, that's their 9/11. Right? It was a coordinated attack where a lot of people were killed. There was bombs that went off. There was people that were being shot.
That's fucking good for AI.
Yeah, man.
Got your watermark. Nice.
Yep, I try to always put that there.
Dude, yeah, that's fucking good, dude. You got a fallen angel right there. Nice. Oh, you got I did go to another picture.
Yeah, so this is just very recent. You know, the Tigers just beat Houston, and who hit the game winning was Ibanez, who's none other than 77. But more importantly than that, like, look, of course it could be a coincidence that a good player that 77 hit the ball in a playoff game, right? But what really stands out to me, guys.
Holy shit, dude. I'm fucking slow. I just realized he had a 77 on his shirt.
Yes, and he's the game winner, and he's looking up at the sky, right? And he puts his hands up, and that's the picture that
saw the 33,
paper, right? Yeah, and that's what really got my attention. That they've got 3 of the 4 right there, and all the main pictures in the Detroit newspaper.
Oh, dude, 42. I didn't even see it. Oh, crept up on me.
Right, and not just one, but 3, right?
Nice. See,
so
dude.
here's the Georgia Guidestones, and they
this is
sit
nice, man.
right next to Route 77, which is right next to the Double 7 farm.
Then you got Crowley on the horizon, which is Horus rising.
Which is Horus rising, yep. Which is just all this etymology. You'll realize that it's all ancient. It's all ancient stuff. Like, that's why I try to get people to realize, like, you want to learn about reality, read the ancient books. Go translate an old alchemist book in German and translate it with your Google Translate. Like, do it yourself. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. The thing about the Georgia Guidestones, guys, it's like in, several different languages, all saying that they need to keep the population under 500 million. And we're at 8 billion, so their resets 2030. I mean, everything's lining up for what they're, trying to put out.
Let's see what else we got, man. I want to look at more of these. Let's see. See what else we got.
Yeah, you probably gotta go to the next email. But it's always there. I mean, when I was looking up the TW flight from 1996, the 800, I almost hit 77 plus 77 plus 77 for how many people died. It was literally 77 plus 77 plus 76. This motherfucker right here. Look at them. Look at their hats. Number one, they got the Baphomet on their hat. Look at their hat. Next to the 77, they have the Baphomet there. It's some little stupid hat they were wearing at the christening of the aircraft carrier, which my sister, who was in the Navy, was at the ceremony. So she's seeing this guy put this hat on. They both
had the hat on?
Yeah, they both had it on at the ceremony.
So that's the goat of Mendes right there, basically.
And it's literally on the real hat. These are pictures. These are photographs.
That's incredible, dude. You can't make this shit up, guys.
No, and it's like nobody could convince me that I'm wrong. Like, I only trust myself more. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a piece of shit.
You're in tune with the right energy, dude.
Super arrogant, right? Like, I truly believe that these generations of trust fund dorks since World War II are following this Age of Horus playbook, or the Aeon of Horus playbook.
Well, it goes back, like when I was saying, it goes back to Marduk with Horus being his grandson. It's that bloodline and that worship of that bloodline. And that's when you see a lot of serpent symbolism as well. And then with the other bloodline, you see the eagle symbolism. You see lightning bolts because of Zeus, who is Ishkur. And yeah, man, let's go some more of these.
Arizona, 1177 victims, and then, that's what started World War II for us. So then right after the 1177 victims, they declare World War II with Public Act 77, and that's the 77th Congress that does that.
Tiffany.
So the 77th Congress declares Public Act 77 after 1177 victims on the Arizona.
Okay. I know a house that I see a lot that has their address is 1177.
So that's the number of magic. You'll see 1177 a lot because that's the number of magic with these are two Crowley numbers right next to each other. And like the Parkland shooting, that's 17 dead, 17 injured. So it's the same thing. It's 1177, just changed around,
dude.
Right? It's always going to be there. Here's the Vegas shooter. The Vegas shooter.
This one is fucking gold, brother. Fuck,
yeah,
man.
Of course you're in Vegas, so you got your 777s, which is as demonic as it gets when you got 777s, I should have put Jason Aldean up there. That's like, I should edit that. Yeah, I could put his face right there.
Just a fat guy with a cowboy hat.
Yeah, and he had his dumb little
town.
Illuminati card game tattoo on his arm. So it's like he's probably in on it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You're right.
But yeah, this guy, and they just had to tell you this in the paper. Like, I don't think anyone really cared when he graduated or when he was married, but of course, it just always lines up. It's got to be there. And like the TW8, the TWA flight 800 from 1996, the date was July 17th. So drop the 1 and you got your 77. But I try not to count those ones because I really do believe that they get off more on having it directly in a row. But they would count that. Like in their brain, they would definitely count 717 as 2 sevens. Like they would absolutely count that in their brain. But I'm not counting it because I want to show the obvious, right? So there are some things that I don't add to the list because it doesn't make my cut, and my cut it's not that hard to make. You just have to be doing some fuckery and plant your 77 there.
Yeah. You're talking about the Venus 77.
Yep, and this should have been on the other side of the country, but no, it for some reason it flew right over the Pentagon. And think about the Pentagon for a second. You'd think it's a 5-sided thing, but there's a bottom and a top, so it's actually a 7-sided thing, right? So,
right.
But it is a pentagram as well. There's the 77 that I saw. I paused. This is the actual. When I paused it, I looked at my wife.
Roadhouse.
Yep, I looked at
the new Roadhouse.
Yeah, the new Roadhouse. I looked at my wife.
Who's in that? Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. I look at my wife and I go. She looks at me and goes, "What the fuck is going on?" And the only thing I could say is, "Well, I guess the Lord." I don't tell the Lord when I'm done looking at 77s. He'll tell me.
Go.
And that's what I said
that before, yeah.
And that's how I look at it, everyone. Like I said, I'm not looking at another one tonight. I go out to watch a movie. This is the only mile marker in the movie. This is God directly talking to me. I don't care what anyone says. You just have to get on that level. I mean, the chances of me studying 77s and then the only mile marker in the movie. And listen, we know nothing gets into movies on accident. You have tons of editors. Right. You have tons of people, and we already know that movies are revelation of the method. It's their main way that they use their alchemy. Instead of transferring metals into gold, they transfer reality by using their Hollywood. And what is Hollywood? It's the tree that the wands that are made, that the wizards made to make people with their mind tricks, is made from the holly tree. So that's why they call Hollywood, so that it's a play on the wizard, it's a play on the wand, right? Here's the Titan. That's that stupid submarine that they stole everyone. It was 6/18/23 is when it blew up, allegedly. I don't believe anything that they say. So if they say it blew up and they show me some debris at the bottom of the ocean, I just think there's some debris at the bottom of the ocean.
I like the giant hand with the face, dude. It makes it even more believable for me. I think there are very large creatures that reside in our oceans, and we do not even fucking know. And it terrifies me. It fucking terrifies me.
My dad used to sail people to and from the Bahamas, from the Florida Keys, to like pay for the sailboat. Yeah, and he told me that one day everyone was sleeping in the middle of the night, and he's sailing, because he didn't really sleep at night, and that the whole ocean floor lit up as far as he could see, right? The whole ocean floor lit up as far as he could see, and he said it's either had to be some sort of life underneath the water lighting up the entire ocean, or some sort of nuclear submarine with some sort of crazy lighting system that he didn't know about. So here's JFK, and unfortunately, what happened with Kobe Bryant and his daughter. He always called her Gigi, which that's a 7/7. If you look at gematria, and Gigi is literally on the back of the license plate on JFK's car. Why is it GG? Who the fuck knows? but it lines right up with everything that I've been talking about. So add it to the list. Add to the list.
Man.
I'm redoing
Tiffany,
this one.
I will tell her.
I'm redoing this one so that it's going to be 2 separate ones for when I put it in the book, so they're not together. But when I first just made this, I'm just like kind of getting the hang of it.
Gorilla Glue.
Yeah, GG33, GG77. And let's think about Luca, who was the guy that they were pushing really hard in the NBA finals, really hard to really push. Luca was 77.
I thought you were talking about the Disney movie.
Luca. And there's never like at that position, somebody that has that high of a number. They're usually a lot lower, like in their 20s, you know. So the fact that he was 77, it's like they're really, you know, pushing this guy. He's good. Let's, you know, give him 77. He'll get as much worship in for us. Obviously, this is the one that scares me the most. You know,
Uvalde. Yeah.
Uvalde.
Matthew McConaughey going there to say, yeah, let's take the law-abiding citizens' guns, or, you know, let's. It's just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
And this is how they get you to, you know, agree to their rituals. They do a ritual. It's fake. I don't mean fake. Like, people really did die. That's the
people
sacrifice.
Say I sound like Matthew McConaughey sometimes.
That's the calling. Yeah, you kind of do.
Oh, Jesus.
You kind of do a little bit when you said that a little bit. Yeah, it's like Matthew McConaughey was talking to me for a second. But yeah, I mean, this one really scared me, and it's always going to be there, guys. It's always going to be there, you know. And they get this guy to come in and talk to you how you got to take your guns, and they get you to agree to it because you're like, we don't want to see any more kids die, and they pull on your heartstrings, and they pull on you trying to give up your rights and your freedoms for this perceived safety.
Hey, why are there so many gingers in the photo?
Yeah, I don't know. The AI just made it that way. I don't know. That's a good question.
I was wondering. I didn't know if there was like some symbolism behind ginger-headed whoever.
Well, according to that one guy, they're Nephilim. Yeah, that's where they get the clowns from, right?
Yeah, dude. And then my wife. Oh, yeah. My wife is a natural redhead, so she would descend from the Nephilim. My kids have strawberry blonde hair. Very Nordic looking, very, you know, I'm like 78% Irish, so.
Have you looked into the Bach saga?
I've looked into the Bach saga, man, and I know that they definitely drink their own cum. I don't know if Crowley did, but I know that the motherfuckers in the Bach saga.
Just Crowley, Dr. Longo, and Bach. Yeah, they're all doing it. So here's Waco, which happened on the same day. And remember, they use Waco as the reason for Oklahoma City.
Oh my guy. Yeah, me and you are on the same page. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, so here's Waco. And remember, they used Waco for the reasoning he did Oklahoma City because he's trying to avenge what they did to all the kids. They're trying to, but you got to realize that April 19th is an ancient date of child sacrifice by fire. So there's a lot of stuff going on, you know. And by the way, in Oklahoma City, they tell you that the degree of the water in the basement where the air conditioning was leaking was 42 degrees. Just so you know.
I believe it.
So here's so you got 77 Branch Davidians dead, because you can see right here it says the grim death toll and the fiery demise of the Branch Davidians compound here rose to 77 today. This was the article, and it was written by William Booth, April 29th, 1993, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because I knew they wouldn't let it be at 76. I was like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to keep it at 76. Here's the Norwegian shooting where the guy went on the island.
Dude, I saw the Netflix movie that came out. Dude, that's fucked.
Yeah, 722.
That's fucked, dude. Like, terrible situation to be in. Those poor kids. When they're like a summer camp there?
Yeah, but I think it was like, they say it was for the elite, but I think it was like for millionaires' kids, not billionaires' kids. So it was like people who are trying to get to the club and they're almost there. But then like the billionaires are like, yeah, fuck you guys. That's what I think.
Yo, I didn't even think about that.
That's what I think, because they're just not on their level yet. And they're like,
fucking psychos
they're like
taking psychos out.
Yeah, because you got 600 billionaires. You know what I mean? They don't want more to their group. Yeah, it's a very small group.
I mean, you've had this going on for forever. Look at the Titanic.
Yeah, they wrote the book. They wrote the book.
Elite
Remember
taken
the
out
Titan.
by elite. You had fucking the
Astors,
the Astor, the Guggenheim, and the Strauss family, all taken out by the Rothschild and the Rockefellers, and the Warburgs, that whole group, Carnegie, Harriman, Morgan. So there you go. That's the picture you were talking about.
Yep, and you can look at the museum right now. Look up Boxcar. Boxcar is in the museum. Yeah, Bach. Yeah,
Bach. I saw that. Yeah.
Bach got a scar when he was drinking the cum because the guy fought back. So I got the car. He's like, I don't like this. I decided I'm not into it.
I'm not getting anything from this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gay, because someone came around the corner. He's like, punched him. And he gave him a boxcar.
That's funny.
His name was I'm not gonna keep ripping on, but I'll just say one thing. I'm just gonna say one thing that when I saw the little exchange between Thomas and the dude from Florida, Old World Florida, who I was a fan of, and he was trying to rip on him about his weight.
That's what made me, when it started getting personal, I was like, okay.
When he started calling him
fat, he's a Freemason and you're, I get that, but
regardless, like I train people trying to fix their figures and their physical.
The whole thing, and
like
just
to be body shaming someone when you're like very, very skinny, you've got nothing to. I mean, my sister would smack the fuck out of that guy, for real. Right. Like my little sister would beat the fuck out of that guy, and he's talking tough to Thomas. Like I just didn't like it, and so I blocked him, and I'm not a fan of his anymore. And you know what?
Me either. And I did used to watch his channel.
Yeah, and you know what?
I've talked about this a lot. Yeah.
Let him go drink the Bach cum. All right. So, anyways, we've got a 9/11 mass ritual here, and this is all for you right here.
I think we're almost done, man. I think we have a few more after this, and then we'll get out of here.
Yep, we had the 77th longitude, 77 meridian west. It happened 77 months after Oklahoma City. The older George Bush was 77 on 9/11. Conveniently, you got your Venus 77. The American Airlines flight hit the 77th floor. 343 first responders. That's 7 times 7 times 7. 2977 victims. 77 feet, 7,700 windows. Flight 77 for 77 minutes. Like, come on, guys. Like, I sound like I'm making up some sort of weird rap song. You know what I mean? Like 77, this is 77 times 7 and 77. It's like, it's just, it doesn't even make sense, but this is reality. And I didn't put these here. I didn't build the Pentagon. And my dad wasn't even alive when it was built. Okay. He was born in 1952. So this has been going on. This has been going on. And my grandpa, who was the lead test pilot for the entire Navy, a lot of it makes sense.
More.
A lot of the exchanges that I remember make a lot of sense now, because I can tell you that guy, he was kind of scared about what was going to happen to him.
This picture, is that you right here? Like right here?
That's Conor McGregor.
It's Conor. I thought that was Conor. I was like, I didn't know that was you with a beard.
No, I can't grow a beard.
Because I saw the chest tattoo, and I know you have I have a collar. I have a collar tattoo. I don't have the chest like you do.
No, I don't have anything on my chest. I only have stuff on my arm.
I thought you did, dude.
I got hair on my chest.
Maybe another MMA dude or Maybe another bare knuckle fighter.
But yeah, I got Crowley down here in the corner because I kind of like, it's like, where's Waldo? You know, I kind of like put him in there a little bit, you know, like you're always going to see, because I think this all stems from him. But make no mistake, I think this is Semyaza. I think this is the Book of Enoch. I think he's just renamed it, and they've called it now the Aeon of...
You think Lamb may have been Semyaza?
No, I think... I think
he
that...
had contact with Lamb first, and then with Iwas, his guardian angel. Crowley did.
It's hard. It's hard to say because I focus more on like
because he depicted Lamb as like a little gray.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Semyaza would have looked. I think Semyaza is probably like a 14-foot pale white humanoid with fucking wings and probably like horns.
Just maybe huge
just
traps.
Terrifying. Probably a reptilian.
Yeah, probably huge traps too. Like
probably jacked as fuck. Yeah, dude. He could fucking rip my head off my shoulders.
Jacked.
That's why you need Christ, everybody. But
like the Golem of Prague, like on my shirt right here, just so you know, the Golem of Prague. Where Rabbi Jew, yeah, Golem,
dude, the golem, yeah, dude, the Jews be creating the golems.
Yep, and he forgot to take the sigil off his head, and then it went through and killed a bunch of people.
Subliminal. You have an after party?
Next one.
Got you. Yeah, we'll get through these real fast. Group. There we go.
All right, so this is the most recent one, guys. The Group of 77, the United Nations. I was like, and guess what they're in charge of? Global warming, COVID response. Shut the fuck up. The defense rests. Like this was, I can't believe this was one of the last. Look at the logo, a G77. Oh god, I mean it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I mean here's one of the guys that stole a bunch of your attention. You know, whether he was running for president or running for senator, this guy did a bunch of damage.
John McCain.
He did a bunch of damage, and like of course, Navy Task Force 77 is who rescued him. Of course, that's a famous Navy task force. They did a lot more than rescue John McCain. They were a big part of the Korean War too, along with Assault Attack Squadron 77 and the Royal Australian Air Force Squadron 77, which were all the three biggest squadrons of the Korean War. You can't make this shit up. Jonestown, the coordinates are 7.7. That's where Jim Jones made everyone drink that 900 cups of Kool-Aid, you know, which was laced with cyanide, because, you know, what had happened was the U.S. government came down there and kind of inspected what he was doing, and they ended up killing the Senator Ryan. And then he's like, look, they're going to come down there and get us all anyways. So you guys all just drink this
that's where he fucked up, was killing the senator.
And then he made everyone drink the Kool-Aid.
Drink that Kool-Aid.
I listened to the tape of him convincing everyone to do it, and it is dark, man. It is fucking dark. It is dark. It's some demon shit. Here's the DC sniper. This is one of my. I'm more proud. I'm more actually pretty proud of this one. How I put this one together.
This is really good. Yeah, man. This could be a fucking like rap album cover.
You got the entity coming out of the clouds, you know, which...
Oh, shit, I didn't even see that. Nice.
Yeah, the entity's kind of coming out of the clouds. You see the eyes behind the DC sniper. I put you got both guys. And yeah, there was at least 4 of the murders happened at coordinates 77 degrees. You know, at least 4.
Yeah, you said...
This is me inside Sherman-Williams just 2 days ago trying to buy paint. You know, I mean, I can't avoid it. You know, I can't avoid it, guys. Like, I mean, it could be anything. It could be Super 6. It could be Super 10. Of course, they're going to get
77.
They're going to hit their quota.
You're right, dude. You're right.
They're going to hit their quota.
These patterns a lot.
They're going to hit their quota. Here's the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. The only motherfucker that voted against it was the 7th governor of Alaska Territory, Ernest Gruening, who was 77 at the time of the vote. There was one other guy that voted against it, but they really did make sure that the 77 stood out. It had to be one of the two guys. Operation Iraqi Freedom, like I said, we've gone over this. This is 77 to 23 passed in Congress, so they didn't call it Operation Iraqi Freedom 77, but they sure got it in there in a clever way. Public Act 77, World War II, it was, the 77th Congress declared Public Act 77. That's what started the whole thing.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Desert Storm, here's George Bush signing House Joint Resolution 77, which started Desert Storm. That's what sent all of our troops over there.
Starting all these fucking wars. Here's the last one right here. You were talking about Into the Blue.
Yeah, I was watching this with Amelia. She loved it. We were really into it.
R.I.P. Fuck. What's his name, man? Paul
Walker.
Paul Walker. Yeah.
Who was trying?
Paul Walker, man. Who was did sacrificed. A lot of.
Yeah, and he was doing a lot of.
That's why Bernie Mac was sacrificed. Was because he was going to speak out about Paul Walker's death. I heard that. I think Arizona Wilder talked about. I don't know.
Well, Paul Walker did a lot of work in Haiti with his charity, and then he found out a bunch of shit because who was running their shit down in Haiti? The Clinton Foundation. And what happens is every single time that they start an earthquake in Haiti, they kill a bunch of parents, and then they go down there and there's a bunch of orphans. And then they use those kids for the sacrifices, and they use those kids for the trafficking, because they're all orphans and no one's going to miss anyone from fucking Haiti. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Paul Walker got killed, essentially, because he was going to speak out against that. That's what I believe. Because it makes sense. Walker. Look, where there's smoke, there's fire.
It really does. It really does. It really does. Well, John, dude, thanks for coming and hanging out, brother. I always love your company. And, yeah, we have to do this again. I'm gonna dive deeper into this, dude. There has to be a reason why Semyaza embodies that number. Why that number carries, his spirit on it. So I'm gonna dive a little further into that. I found some stuff. I read through like a PDF Talmud, and I found some stuff in there of what he was, just I'm probably gonna be doing. Yeah. He was Talmud. Dude, he was in Egypt. Like it's crazy. And he's still worshipped today. I think voice just cracked. One of the many Satans. But yeah, dude, you want to tell everyone where to find you? Like all your Instagrams and everything, and then you can get out of here. It's going to take me like 10 minutes to put my plugs in. So,
yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Jules, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on the Grey Pilled podcast. And you can find me at It's Not What You Think podcast on Spotify, on YouTube. I actually went live, on this right now. So if anyone could go and see if that actually worked. I got no comments, so no one really watches my shit. I'm completely shadow banned. But you can go to my new website, which I'm trying to keep everything in one place, which is at itsnotwhatyoutthink.com. I'll have shirts on there. I'll have posters. I'm writing.
You'll have some people sub to you after this, dude. Trust me.
I'm writing my book, which is going to be a book pretty much about how no matter what conspiracy you start at, you'll end up at spiritual war. You'll end up at 7742 and all of these psyops and the fallen, and you'll end up, being on the side of the Christ, and you may not end up calling yourself a Christian and not using any Roman words or anything like that, but you'll end up trying to live as Christ-like as possible, and you'll be trying to fight on the side of love. Man. You'll be trying to fight on the side of love. And, if you're on that side, then you're on my side. You know what I mean? So God bless all you guys. And yeah, stay the course, like my dad always said.
All right. John, thank you, brother.
Take care, guys. Have a good one.
You too, man. I'll see you later. All right, everybody. That was fun, man. I love John. He's badass, dude. And yeah, he's a badass fucking fighter too. He's jacked as fuck. Makes me really feel like I need to work out more. But yeah, y'all go subscribe to him on Instagram. I think his page as well as his podcast, It's Not What You Think, is the Florida Keys Kid. So maybe we could line that little boxing match up, guys. He is in Florida, so you never know. Guys, I'm on Instagram, graypilled_podcast. Excuse me. I'm on Twitter, graypillpod. Y'all go follow me, please. If you haven't yet, I'm going to start streaming there now. Like I said, it's been 3 or 4 months, but yeah, it's nice. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, BitChute, which I haven't been able to upload anything lately. Usually I just upload my Elohim etymologies to there and shorter episodes because you can't upload too long episodes to BitChute. There is a live streaming option, but yeah. Also Rumble, YouTube, obviously. Yeah, I got merch coming. I'll have that link up soon. Bunch of cool shit. And I'm talking to Top Lobster about a new design right now, hopefully. So, yeah, y'all stay tuned for that. Also, if you want to support the podcast, you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/graypillpodcast. Yeah, I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming and hanging out with me, as always. Y'all tune in. Maybe I'll do something tomorrow night. I don't know. Maybe I'll do like a late night stream and we'll watch something and just be fucking lazy. It'll be cool. It'll be some cool shit, obviously. But, yeah, Schizo News Network Saturday night. I'll be sure to watch that. Don't know if I'll be there this weekend. But y'all go support my boy Nate and hopefully Cody and Joel and Squatch will be there and maybe a couple other people. So don't know if I'll be streaming Saturday. Sunday, I have my Cryptid Watch Sunday night, as always. I'm sure y'all can come hang out with me and the rest of the people in the chat and watch cryptid videos and, you know, just kick it. Kick it. We have a good fucking time. Yeah, guys. Also, you can go to oddfellowsbrand.com to support Cody, my co-host on Schizo, and you can use promo code GP for 15% off, as well as Organite.com, State of Oregon-I. You can use that same promo code GP for 10% off. Go to ParanoidAmerican.com and support my brother Thomas. Damn, I should have uploaded this Elohim etymology intro, this new intro that I made. Play it as an outro. That sucks. Got those are coming back soon. Adrian said any day, so hopefully by this next week, those are going to be streamed live to Patreon only. Maybe the first episode back will be streamed to Rumble, not YouTube. But yeah. Yeah, that's about it. Anyway. Yeah, guys. So I will see y'all this weekend, hopefully. Again, thank y'all for coming and hanging out. And yeah, stay gray-pilled. Love you guys.
Kubrick directing the moon landing, baby. Oh, yeah.
The fake moon landing playset comes with a movie director, camera, fake moon rocks, and 2 astronauts. The Paranoid American playsets, collect them all. New from ParanoidAmerican.com.
Disclaimer. These are custom art creations and not toys meant for wimpy little new world order babies. Don't eat the art. Don't sue the artist. For more details, visit paranoidamerican.com.
Check it out at paranoidamerican.com.
See,
welcome to the Gray Pilled Podcast.
I'm slightly autistic. I mean, I'm fucking awkward, you know? I know I'm not like the brightest bulb in the shed. I'm find you a good one, fellas, because they're all getting either, taken away by other men or taken away by Semyaza. They called Demiurge Jehovah etheric mermaids in your semen. I don't know how I feel about that. Marduk is the scapegoat. Azazel means the scapegoat.
Wow.
Get the E from the beginning of his name and the L at the end. Put that together, and if you're Saturn deity right there, guys. Everyone knows about the reptilians and their cavern systems underground that lead to Hollow Earth. And we can talk about that when
Jules knows.
Mr. Hall talks about the teachings of Paracelsus and his many views on the elementals, and I find that fascinating. Create a Patreon at anyone fucking like 99 cents a month. I don't know. Maybe I'll go live if not. I don't give a fuck. I don't really care what people think, so I like it.
You're killing it, Jules, bro.
There's some people that are kind of mad, man.
Okay, well, all right, we're going to take you back out.
Red and black, and that's alchemical. In Freemasonry and in all esoteric history schools, the eagle is usually a representation of the original phoenix. Just blew my own mind. Gray pills dropping left and right, man.
3-6 Mafia is the sipping on the scissor, right? They were bringing the hydrocodone
on the hands-free phone.
On the hands-free phone,
It's the Gray Pill Podcast, dropping jewels with Jews on the Gray Pill Podcast. Time to school all these fools on the Gray Pill Podcast.
Welcome to the Gray Pilled Podcast.
Gather round, all you mystery seekers. We're diving deep into the dark, exploring realms beyond what's known, where the secrets of the shadows leave their mark. Come take a ride on the Gray Pill Express, where esoteric knowledge is our guest. From conspiracies to cryptids, we unveil the veil. Mysticism and the occult, our forbidden tale. Join us on this journey to uncover